The surrender tactic, the dark secret that power masters use to dominate. The fatal paradox. Why Pablo Escobar lost everything by never learning strategic surrender. You know why Pablo Escobar, the most powerful man in Colombia, was eliminated? Because he never learned the art of strategic surrender. The cocaine king, who controlled a billion-dollar empire, made a fatal mistake. He confused brute resistance with real power. But there's a shadow tactic used by modern power masters that makes them practically invisible to their adversaries. They discovered the secret that Escobar never understood. Tactical surrender is the most lethal weapon in the human arsenal. Law 22 of the 48 Laws of Power teaches us something revolutionary. Use the surrender tactic. It's not cowardice. It's psychological surgery. While Escobar declared open war on Colombian authorities, directly confronting the state with extreme violence, true power masters learn to camouflage, operate from shadows, win without fighting. Result? Escobar died at 44 in a violent confrontation. True masters continue building empires decades later. Think about Warren Buffett. For decades, he's been the world's most respected investor. His strategy was never to fight the market, it was to surrender to it, study it, dominate it from within. When the 2008 crisis devastated Wall Street, he didn't resist or panic. He surrendered to the chaos and used it to buy stocks of America's biggest companies at historically low prices. That tactical surrender made him billions while others lost everything. Now observe your own life. How many times have you lost opportunities because you tried to force a direct victory? How many times has your stubbornness cost you relationships, deals, promotions? Society programmed you to believe that giving in is losing. But power masters know a dark truth. Whoever surrenders strategically controls the rhythm of battle. Jeff Bezos never fought publicly with competitors when Amazon was small. When attacked by established retailers, he surrendered to silence, forcing critics to fight against emptiness. Result? 3 decades later, Amazon dominates global commerce. Oprah Winfrey, when facing scandals, never defended herself aggressively. She smiled, surrendered to transparency, transformed attacks into teachable moments. Result? A media empire worth billions. Tactical surrender is like mental jujitsu. You use your opponent's force against themselves. When you stop resisting what you can't control, you gain total control over what matters, your response. And your calm response amid others' chaos becomes your greatest demonstration of power. According to widely reported accounts, Michael Jordan didn't make his high school varsity basketball team as a sophomore, initially being placed on the junior varsity team. This experience is considered one of the greatest motivations of his career. He could have quit or complained. Instead, he accepted the situation, trained obsessively, and returned stronger. That temporary surrender became the catalyst for his greatness. Lethal practical action. For 3 days, when someone provokes or criticizes you, don't react. Simply say, "You might be right," and observe the discomfort this causes the aggressor. Feel the power of completely disarming someone who expected your resistance. This exercise will show you that tactical surrender isn't passivity, it's absolute control of interpersonal dynamics. If you want to discover the other 47 dark secrets that separated conquerors from the conquered throughout history, smash that like button now and comment. Total power. If you're ready to weaponize these psychological tools in your own rise to dominance, the friendship illusion. How Obama conquered America by pretending to be everyone's friend. John McCain was more experienced, more qualified, more prepared than Barack Obama, but he lost to him at the polls. Why? Because McCain tried to win through political superiority, while Obama dominated through the illusion of emotional proximity. He didn't try to be the smartest guy in the room, he became everyone's friend, and from that false intimacy, he built a political project that defined an era. Emotional connection is the most valuable currency of modern power. It doesn't matter how competent you are if people don't feel like you understand them. Obama, a junior senator with limited experience, defeated seasoned politicians because he understood a dark truth. People don't vote just with reason. They vote with their hearts, and whoever controls the heart has a decisive advantage. Watch Oprah Winfrey. She didn't become a billionaire by being the most technical journalist on American TV. She dominated by creating seemingly impossible to break emotional connections with her audience. Every person who watched her show felt like Oprah was their personal confidant. And from that illusion of intimacy with millions of strangers, she built a multi-billion-dollar media empire. The fatal mistake amateurs make is trying to impress only with technical competence. But power masters know that competence without emotional connection is social impotence. Mark Zuckerberg is technically brilliant, but socially awkward in public appearances. Steve Jobs was brilliant and knew how to create deep emotional connection. Result? Jobs became a cultural icon. Zuckerberg is respected as a CEO, but not idolized. In America, Johnny Carson was never the most handsome or most educated TV host. But he became the most influential because he mastered the art of manufactured intimacy. He spoke to millions as if he were the funny uncle of every American family. And from that strategically built emotional connection, he erected Tonight Show dominance and a massive entertainment legacy. Emotional connection works like psychological dependency. You create bonds in others without them consciously realizing it. When people feel you understand them, they lower all rational defenses, and in that moment of vulnerability, you implant your ideas directly into their subconscious. Franklin D. Roosevelt, even while being a powerful president during crisis, was called a friend by the population rather than a distant leader. How? He mastered the art of appearing close to working-class citizens while concentrating absolute power. He used radio to speak directly to families, creating an illusion of personal intimacy with millions. Result? Even while governing with unprecedented authority, he became an American legend. False friendship isn't about lying blatantly. It's about selectively amplifying aspects of your personality that generate connection with your target audience. Every successful politician is a consummate actor. They don't lie about who they are, they perform strategic versions of themselves. Ronald Reagan wasn't the most intellectually gifted president, but he was called the great communicator. Why? Because he understood that people needed to feel emotionally connected to their leader. Every speech felt like a conversation with a trusted friend. And from that emotional mastery, he reshaped American conservatism for generations. Dark connection technique. Identify the deepest emotional pain of the person you want to create connection with. Don't try to solve that pain immediately, just demonstrate that you understand it profoundly. The person will feel an instant and seemingly inexplicable connection to you. Use this with ethical responsibility. Subscribe now if you want to learn the other emotional influence techniques that transformed ordinary people into mass leaders. And share this video with someone who needs to discover how real power works behind the scenes. The unpredictability weapon. Why Kanye West dominates by being unhinged. Drake is more consistent, more professional, more predictable than Kanye West. But when they release projects simultaneously, who generates more cultural impact? Kanye. Why? Because Drake is consistent in his excellence, while Kanye is lethal in his creative unpredictability. Fans know more or less what to expect from Drake. Smooth vocals, catchy hooks, relationship themes. But Kanye might drop a gospel album after a rap trilogy or declare he's running for president mid-concert, and that unpredictability makes him culturally indefensible. Excessive predictability can be the death of strategic power. When your adversaries can anticipate all your moves, you lose competitive advantage. Mike Tyson didn't become the most feared boxer of his era just because of punch power, it was because of the brutal unpredictability of his attacks. He could knock you out with either hand, from any angle, at any moment. His opponents entered the ring already psychologically shaken. In the business world, Elon Musk generates impact through strategic unpredictability. While other CEOs follow traditional corporate playbooks, Musk might announce he's acquiring a social network on a Tuesday or that he plans to colonize Mars on a Thursday. Wall Street frequently criticizes this unpredictability, but can't ignore it. And from that constant tension, Musk extracts media power worth billions in free coverage. Observe Madonna. For over 40 years, she reinvented herself constantly, always unexpectedly. When everyone expected her to maintain a style, she changed radically. When they expected provocation, she surprised with artistic depth. And from that calculated unpredictability, she built a longer-lasting career than virtually any artist of her generation. Strategic unpredictability isn't random chaos, it's like jazz. Jazz has musical structure, but allows brilliant improvisation within that structure. Miles Davis revolutionized music not by following established rules, but by constantly creating new languages. Each of his albums was a creative rupture from the previous, and that artistic unpredictability made him an immortal legend. Donald Trump didn't become president by following traditional political strategies. While career politicians stuck to focus group-tested messages, Trump said whatever came to mind on social media at any hour. Political experts called it unhinged, but that unpredictability generated billions in free media coverage and captured America's attention like no candidate in modern history. Conor McGregor isn't necessarily the most technical fighter in UFC, but he's one of the financially richest. Why? Because of the unpredictability of his provocations and media performances. He might show up to an event in a pink suit, challenge multiple fighters simultaneously, or announce retirement in the middle of a press conference. And each unexpected move generates millions in free media coverage. The human mind gets fascinated by controlled unpredictability. That's why compulsive gamblers can't stop easily, they're addicted to the uncertainty of outcomes. When you become intelligently unpredictable, you transform every interaction into a mentally stimulating experience for others. Robin Williams never followed a script, even in interviews. He could shift from profound philosophy to absurd comedy within seconds. No one could predict what would come out of his mouth next. And that unpredictability made him irreplaceable in Hollywood for decades. Deadly unpredictability technique. Map your most obvious behavioral patterns. Now, once a week, do exactly the opposite of what everyone expects from you. If you're always punctual, show up 30 minutes late without warning inappropriate contexts. If you always agree, disagree politely. Observe how this completely disarms others' expectations and gives you total control of the dynamic. Turn on notifications if you want to be alerted to the next dark secrets that big names used to become unstoppable. And comment which was the most unpredictable person you've ever met. Let's discover together the patterns behind the strategic unpredictability, the master's transcendence, how Kobe Bryant became immortal by mastering three forces. January 26, 2020. Kobe Bryant dies in a helicopter crash, and the entire world stops. Not just basketball fans. The entire planet mourns like they lost a family member. How did a basketball player achieve that level of global transcendence? Kobe had evolved beyond the condition of simple athlete. He had become a master who combined three lethal forces. Tactical surrender, he accepted being traded and used it to fuel greatness. Emotional connection, every fan felt personally connected to his journey. And unpredictability, as fadeaway shot was artwork impossible to anticipate. This dark trinity made him immortal in global memory. When you master the art of tactical surrender, you control perfect timing. When you master emotional connection, you control people's hearts. When you master unpredictability, you control opponents' minds. But when you combine all three forces simultaneously, you transcend common human condition and become a living legend. Muhammad Ali wasn't just the most technically skilled boxer, he was the master of three power arts. He surrendered tactically outside the ring, refused to fight in the Vietnam War, and accepted grave consequences, created emotional connection with global crowds, transformed each fight into worldwide cultural events, and was unpredictable in both punches and verbal provocations. Result? Even decades after retirement, Ali continued being the greatest until his death. In the corporate universe, Steve Jobs personified this dark trinity of power. He surrendered tactically when necessary, was fired from his own Apple and returned stronger, created deep emotional connection with consumers. People camped for days to buy Apple products, and was unpredictable in every product launch. No one could anticipate his next technological moves. This combination made him irreplaceable even after death. Michael Jackson didn't become the king of pop through talent alone. He transcended music by combining the three power arts. Tactically, he knew when to retreat from public eye and when to explode back. Emotionally, he connected with fans across all cultures and generations. And artistically, he was completely unpredictable. Who else would think to moonwalk backwards while singing? Result? Decades after death, he remains the ultimate entertainment icon. Albert Einstein wasn't just the smartest physicist, he mastered the three forces of influence. He tactically surrendered to Nazi persecution, fled to America instead of fighting, emotionally connected with humanity, made complex physics accessible through simple explanations, and remained intellectually unpredictable as theories defied everything science believed. This trinity made him the most recognizable scientist in history. The great revelation is that these three forces aren't exclusive natural talents, they're skills that can be developed through deliberate and systematic practice. Kobe wasn't born knowing how to play basketball. Jobs wasn't born knowing how to revolutionize technology. Ali wasn't born knowing how to dominate boxing and media. They became masters through methodical obsession with these dark arts of power. Your transcendence ritual, every day, before facing your personal and professional battles, dedicate 10 minutes to align your three forces. First, identify where you need to tactically surrender today. What control do you need to release to gain real power? Second, identify who you need to create genuine emotional connection with, who needs to feel that you understand them deeply. Third, identify where you can be strategically unpredictable. What expectation can you break to mentally disarm adversaries? This daily 10-minute ritual will reprogram your brain to operate at the level of great historical masters. You'll stop being merely reactive and become proactive. Stop being predictable and become magnetically